How are you going, Spider? What's going on?
Good, man. Just madness before the holidays and life and lots of stuff going on.
Christmas shopping done? Is that all sorted?
Well, yes, if you I guess I have, except for that half of the shit from Amazon hasn't showed up yet. So
Oh,
there'll be a lot of late Christmas gifts this year.
damn, damn. And they're usually really quick, but I guess it's that time of year. So,
Yeah, I think it's fine. I'll be good.
well, man, I got to say, I'm pretty damn excited that PowerMan 5000 are finally coming to Australia. As a longtime fan, man, it's super exciting. How you feeling about making that big trek down?
I'm not the best traveler, to be honest with you, so I'm not excited about that. I was hoping at this point in our career that we would have invented, like transporters, like in Star Trek, we just beam ourselves to the next city, but unfortunately, that has not happened. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it's crazy. I've been doing interviews for this tour, and it's pretty weird that I've been doing this band for about 30 years now, and just have a place where we haven't gone yet is kind of exciting, because at this point there isn't too much that I don't know. I don't, or I know what to expect, right? We play in Dallas, Texas, or we play in Los Angeles or wherever. I kind of know what I'm in for.
Mm.
And this is just who fucking knows? So it's kind of exciting. I mean,
Man,
I hear great things. I hear great things from all other bands that have gone. So hopefully it'll be a great experience for us.
so you've never actually stepped foot in Australia, even for like a holiday or anything?
No, never, never, never. My closest I've been are Men at Work videos and the Travel Channel. That's about it.
See, yeah, a lot of people before they come here, they've got all these expectations of what Australia is actually going to be like. Like it's like some Mad
Yeah,
Max, kangaroos on the lawn, everything can kill you. Now, everything can kill you, but it's
all right.
it's just outside, so you'll be right. Hmm. Anyway,
Yeah, I think it's the giant spiders that everybody like when people pull their visor down in their car and there's a giant spider. I think that's the stuff that freaks most people out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, hey, we get that, but I think I think you'll be
Right? Yeah, that'd be fun.
well, man, your recent set lists have been a fair bit of a mix of all your albums, and I guess you've hit that point in your career where you've got so much to draw from, but you still have to play obviously the bangers. But being this is your first visit down under, how deep do we expect the set to go? How far back?
Yeah, I mean we try to look, I being in a band that's been around this long, it's very easy to fall into the heritage nostalgia vibe, and I don't ever want to do that. So we always try to play some new stuff, off whatever the newest record, and also from all the past records. Yeah, you're right. Obviously, like it's tough to do a set list without playing When Worlds Collide or
Yeah, yeah.
Bombshell or whatever the song people want to hear, and that's fine. And we always play those songs. But yeah, you're right. It is. I think I don't even know how many albums we have now. 11, 12? I'm not even sure. So it's difficult to choose, what to play sometimes. And you always get the guy in the crowd yelling for the song that you're not going to play. And
Hey.
we tend not to play a lot from the very first album. Sometimes nothing. Like every once in a while, we'll throw in a song in the first album being Mega Kung Fu Radio, not because a lot of
Yes.
people think our first
Yes.
record is Tonight the Stars Revolt. Um, because we get it's like we get bullied into playing old songs by old fans. Like, come on, man, you got to play the first album, and then we do, and and everyone's just like, what the fuck's that song? So we've decided to do that. So, yeah,
I,
we try to mix it up for a little bit from everything.
I'm that guy though. And I
Yeah.
promise I won't be that guy because as I said, I am like,
Oh,
yeah. I mean, you'd be like, no, you shut the fuck up. Yeah, that'd
yeah.
be. I'll try not to. I'll try not to. But you recently released this banger. Hey,
Oh,
on
well,
vinyl
somebody
for the
released that.
first time. Oh, really?
Yeah, I was surprised to see that on vinyl. I mean, that is so many people have been asking for that
Mm.
on vinyl, and it finally came out. Somebody licensed it and put it out. So
Wow, because this, yeah. So you weren't behind it. I thought you
no,
spearheaded the
no,
whole
no. I
movement.
mean, it's interesting, as with a lot of bands, and especially with older material. It's like they're my songs, but I don't own them. You know what I mean? They're part of
Yeah.
a collective, universal music, whatever. So, it's kind of up for grabs for people to, go in, and if they want to pay enough money, they can license it and put it out on vinyl. And I'm happy they did, because I think it's been requested almost more than anything uh, in the last few years. So it's kind of cool to have it out. I don't even have one. So if they're listening, you could send me a free one. That'd be cool.
Yeah, they should. I mean, you're on the
Sure.
fucking cover.
I know it. What a strange business.
Yes, it is a very strange business. But that album just absolutely rocketed you into the spotlight globally, even down here. Like I remember the day I first walked into a music shop and was like, "What's this?" and picked it up and listened to
Yeah.
it, and the rest is history. But at what point in writing it did the whole concept come to you? Like the sci-fi and the themes.
Yeah. I mean, I always, I grew up a nerd, for lack of a better term. I love science fiction,
Mm.
horror, comic books, animation. That was my world. That was yeah, as so many people do. But I always felt like, very little in music, like representing that, like in other words, wearing your pop culture influences on your sleeve. And we did it, we did it a lot lyrically on the first album, but we didn't have money to like, do cool videos or, do custom wardrobe or anything like that. So we were still in like, camo shorts and t-shirts, even though we were singing about, all this other shit. So, I always kind of had this this idea of sort of bringing all those influences and creating a band that went beyond just, oh, that music's cool, to a point where it's like your fans kind of feel like they'd be your friend if they knew you, because you'd like the same movies and read the same books, and you know what I mean. And I always liked that idea, and a few people did. I remember like thinking that a little bit about the Beastie Boys. I was like, I feel like I know those guys because of what they talk about, and the references they put in their songs. And so that became just a thing. And then, like I said, we actually got some budgets to make some cool videos. And so I was like, well, fuck it, man. I want to make a Flash Gordon video. I want to do this. I want to do that. And thinking all the along the way that no one was going to get it. Like I was like, we are definitely putting the nail in the coffin as forever being the weirdest little cult band in the world. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think that this would translate to as many people as it did. And I mean, I think a lot of it was timing. And 1999 was definitely a time where music, and especially heavy music, there was a large variety of images and sounds and personality types. And I think that we got lucky to sort of fall in a moment where, that was accepted. And, even MTV was still playing, was playing our videos and stuff alongside Britney Spears and the
Yeah.
Backstreet Boys. And, it was definitely a unique moment that came and went fairly quickly. But I feel really fortunate that we sort of hit that mark, when we did, because if we didn't, who knows what would have happened.
But you survived it too, where there were a lot of the smaller bands during that scene that are just, some of them are coming back, making little comebacks and stuff, but you've been consistent throughout the years. You've released really great albums, and you've changed a little bit. I mean, obviously, the album, each album you've had different,
Sure.
get ups and stuff like that. But, what do you think that's other than the music and that's kept you going? Was it the fans?
I think, well, it's kind of like, somebody once said, what's the trick to a long marriage? And the answer is, don't get divorced.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of true with the band. It's like, don't stop, don't quit, keep going, because I know a lot of the bands and the people that came up with us. And I think a lot of them struggled with that. It wasn't 1999 anymore,
Yeah.
and they weren't on the, on the top of everybody's list as the cool thing, and they couldn't deal with that, and their egos got the best of them, and they just couldn't. They had a really hard time surviving the sort of roller coaster ride that is music. So, I think that's sort of the trick for us was just, or for me anyways, because I'm the only original guy, but is to just put your ego in check, realize that, hey man, this year we might be, squashing 12 guys in a van. Next year we might be back on a bus. Maybe we get a song on the radio, maybe we don't. And who cares? Like this is what we signed up for. This is a band. This is about creating music, about, just until you don't have anything else to say, then there's no reason to really stop, until it's just no fun anymore, or I can't physically do it. I don't really see any point of like stopping. I'm not going to stop because of external problems, like, oh, we're not as big as we were. We're not doing, because there is also something about longevity that it definitely comes in waves. Like there have definitely been moments where I felt like, wow, we're at our lowest that we've been, but then all of a sudden you're on this ride again because enough time has passed, and now there's this whole fascination with this time period and these bands, and all these young bands are like, using bands like POWERMAN as influence, and suddenly you're back being like more relevant, and so you just got to keep going, and just keep doing what you do, and be okay with where you're at. I think that's really the trick.
And your fan base, like, it's just crazy. Like, people love POWERMAN 5000 all around the world. I mean, I remember, like, well, there's this VHS. This is how old school I am, dude. I even VHS. I remember watching it, and all the crazy fans, like, all over the world, Japan.
Yeah.
Man, like, have you seen some of the people from that footage at shows, like, later, caught up with them?
Yeah, actually, there have been a few. We've had like Japanese fans that we haven't been to Japan since I think it was 2000, and they'll show up here in America to see us. Wow. And I think one of the girls is from that video, and she's remained a fan ever since. And it is funny how you have such a, even if people do grow up and maybe grow out of your band, you've left such an impact on them. You know what I mean? It's cool. Like that's, and I think about why I do what I do, and what's important is sometimes not only is it just to express yourself, but like it's the influence you leave on other people to then go do their thing. You know what I mean? I mean, I would be, people some of the most important people in my life are people I never met, Stan Lee, George Lucas, Joe Strummer. Like these are people I don't know, will never, but somehow they find you in the world, they connect with you, and then they inspire you to do your own thing, You
met George.
So hopefully we've had that influence on somebody,
Yeah, absolutely. But you met George Lucas?
No, I said I haven't met him. I was saying these are people I haven't met. But I'm just saying the people that come into your life that they influence you through their work, and you may never meet them ever in your life, but they've changed you. You know what I mean? So, and that's what music and film and art does to people. So
absolutely, man, and it changes people. Like as I said, like I've been a fan for a very long time, and I cut my teeth on singing along with your stuff. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like early days when I was starting singing, and here I am singing death metal 70 years later, totally different style, but man, like still part of this, man. So,
for sure. No, I feel like a lot of bands, in the 90s were like the gateway band. I hear that a lot. Like I would have never gotten into heavy music if I didn't hear you guys. Like there was something about that time that a lot of people galvanized. And I think it was because it was sort of treated, on the same level as other music, as pop music, and, bands like us and Manson and Korn and whoever. We were, we were treated as if we were just like, in sync. And so when a young kid was watching MTV and then suddenly one of our bands came on, I think it was just like, opened up a whole new world, which is, what happened to me when I was 13, 14 and found like punk rock bands. I was like, holy shit, there's more out there than Elton John. I was like, I can't fucking believe that these bands exist, and it changed everything.
What about vocally for you though? I mean, you discovered those bands, but when was the moment that you went, "Oh, I can do this"? Like discovered.
Yeah, well, that was punk rock, and then later in a similar way, rap music.
Mm,
Because it's like when you listen to when you listen to those magical bands of you listen to Led Zeppelin or like I said, Elton John or whoever. It's like I can't fucking do that,
yeah,
like, and I knew that, like it was like I loved music, but it seemed like this magical, unattainable thing,
yeah,
right? Like it was like that's for really fucking special people. But then you find bands, Black Flag or Minor Threat or whoever, Dead Kennedys, and then listening to like the Beastie Boys or NWA, and I'm like, fuck, man, like no one, I could do that. I think like that sounds like that makes sense to me.
yeah,
It's not about being technically proficient or being able to have a 4 octave. It's about having a fucking attitude and just like. So those are the bands that's the music that influenced me because I finally found stuff that seemed attainable, that
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like I can do that. So obviously if you listen to POWERMAN, you kind of, that makes sense. It's very like rhythmic. It's very, it's not, it's light on melody and it's just more about that sonic blast, which is, a straight influence of punk and hip hop and yeah. So that's the only reason I even had the courage to try to do anything.
Well, I mean, you've definitely got a very unique voice. You know it's you when you hear it. You're not.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always been. I went through a period where like I was kind of envious of other singers. Like, man, I wish I could sing that good. And then I realized like I'm glad now. I'm glad I couldn't because then I would just try and copy them. And
Mm,
so I was left with just doing only what I could do at the time. And so yeah, inevitably, if you do that, you're going to develop your own style. And I always felt that recognizability in a vocal was more important than technique or whatever. I mean, what the jokes about like what would happen if Bob Dylan or Mick Jagger went on American Idol or something, or Australian Idol. I assume there's one. They wouldn't make it past the first round, right? They'd be voted off instantly. But these are people with the most recognizable, distinct qualities in their voice, and to me, that's way more important.
absolutely, absolutely. Because I mean, that's another thing is your brother and you have both very different vocal styles, but you grew up in the same household. Was it the same musical influences for both of you guys, or did you sort of
Yeah, I think
both branch out?
I'm sure there was some differences but I mean, I think yeah, we definitely grew up listening to the same stuff and a lot of the same influences in
Mm.
terms of like aesthetic, movies and comic books and stuff. So there is a yeah, it's different. There is a similarity. We definitely have a very similar speaking voice, so I think it comes through in the vocals too. But I think I was more of a punk rock kid, and he was maybe more of a like. If there was like when I think back to being really young, like he was very much into like Alice Cooper and Blue Oyster Cult or something, which is obvious, right? And then I was
Yeah.
much more like at the time like Sex Pistols and that kind of stuff. So I think that even though we both love those influences cross over, I think that those, at least at a young age, was sort of the maybe a little bit of a defining thing.
But, you guys do sound good together when you jam the odd occasion. Like I've seen videos and of course it's on the record. It's
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. I mean, you
Yeah,
got
it doesn't happen enough. Once in a while, we'll have a chance to do it. Like on this last summer, we did a song on stage together a couple times, and then, but it's tough to bring that together. It's like this. It's everybody's always so busy, always
yeah.
doing. It's just like, but maybe someday we'll do a Christmas album together or something.
That's hey, put me.
Imagine
I could just
that.
imagine it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like a speed metal. It was a speed
Yeah.
metal Christmas album. Go completely out of. But man, you're also a really great filmmaker too. You've got such a great eye. Like you've just recently released Allegoria, which just
Yeah.
is just incredible and scary as fuck. Like
Oh, thanks, man.
visually, Dude, visually it's so dark, and there's things in there that I don't think I've seen done before. So obviously, is that something you want to do more of? Have you got more ideas to go down that route?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's something that I've always been passionate about, but never really took the plunge until recently. And so, yeah, Allegoria came out, and that was a direct result of like the COVID years of not being able to tour. And it was like, I'm going fucking crazy here. Like, I don't know when I'm going to be able to go back on the road. I don't know what's up. So I was like, what am I going to do? And that was when I was like, well, maybe now's the time. Maybe this is the universe saying, like, go make a fucking movie. And so, I managed to, obviously when you see the movie, you can sort of see that it's very, limited cast and small, one or two locations for each story. And so, yeah, so that was, inspiring. And then we shot it. We just shot another movie. So that's coming out next year. It's called Bury the Bride. It's another horror movie. So we've been on a tear with the movie thing. And, I want to gear up next year for a third feature. So I want it to definitely be like when I'm not on the road, I'm making a movie.
Yeah.
When I'm done with the movie, I go back on the road and try to do this back and forth kind of thing, because it's become a really exciting new challenge. Like I said before about music, it's very rare that anything new comes my way. I kind of can, I become very like comfortable with the music thing. If I have to play a festival and there's 50,000 people, it's like, yeah, whatever. Not a, no butterflies. It's like, it's been there, done that.
Yeah.
But man, we screened Allegoria in front of 100 people, and I was like sweating bullets, so nervous, just like, and it's exciting to have that kind of new challenge in front of you, and so yeah, it's cool. I mean, like I said, I grew up, just so into movies, and so it's great to kind of start to put my own little stamp on my own work.
What if someone like Marvel, backed up the money truck at your front door and were like, go go make us a Marvel movie? What would you do? Like Fantastic Four? Oh, I'd love to see it. Or
yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's done that right yet, for sure.
Yeah.
I love, I always wanted to, I always thought, so I don't know if you know, well, the name Power Man 5000 was directly influenced by the superhero Luke Cage, who was called Power Man. And I always thought it'd be really fun to tackle that, because I don't think they've ever done it correctly. I think they modernized it for like a series, but to do it like a Power Man movie based in the 70s would be really fun. But I don't think it would have to be rated R, and I don't think Marvel would go for that, But yeah, I mean, of course, like, look, it'd be amazing to get that kind of opportunity. But we'll see. I mean, I oddly enough enjoy like the limitations of smaller movies. I think it forces you to be creative and influence people by what they can't see instead of what they can see.
Yeah.
And so someday maybe, but for now I'm okay with doing my little indie movies.
Well, that's okay too, because I like them. I like where you're headed with that, brother. But of course, the Noble Rot. I love that album, dude.
Oh, thank you, man.
And so good. But of course, I mean, the $1 million question is: are you working on some more new tunes? We got another Power Man on the way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. We were supposed to deliver the record months ago, but just writing songs. The more songs you write, the harder it gets for me. It seems like it would be easy at this point. Like, oh yeah, man, I can fucking bang this shit out, but it's not. I find writing songs really difficult. But yeah, I pretty much have the whole record written and sort of demoed out. So the idea is right in the new year is just to get in there and polish it up and finish it and have it out this coming 2023. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Pretty excited about it. Some really weird shit. I think this record is going to be like really strange, because we're writing some songs that are just like, I don't know, man. But it's funny. Everything I think that fans are going to reject are the things they embrace the most. So I feel like they expect the unexpected from us. So like when like you mentioned Noble Rot, when we released Black Lipstick as a single, I'm like, oh man, people are going to hate this. It's so like, dark wave, new wave, it's not heavy in a traditional sense. And it's very, And that was the most positive response we've gotten to a single in I can't remember how many years. So it's like, it just goes to show you sometimes, don't underestimate the audience to be accepting of something new,
That's it.
instead of trying to rehash the same thing over and over, which we'll try not to do for sure.
Gotta go with the weird sometimes, brother. Because it
Yeah,
leads
for
out
sure.
to crazy parts, man. But talking about that, man, hey, I can't wait to see you down here very, very soon. We're only like what, a couple of weeks away, and you're
That's
gonna be
going fast.
and it's gonna come up quick. And I'll be in Brisbane. I'm gonna go grab that meet and greet. And if you don't mind, I'll get you to sign my vinyl right in there.
Absolutely.
I'll absolutely enjoy that. But mate, until then, thanks again for hanging on the show. Have a great Chrissy, and I'll cheers you with my
Thanks, man.
boy mug. And
Nice.
see you soon, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Pleasure talking. Talk to you soon.
See you, bro.